When you desire, is it really you who desires? Have you ever asked yourself that? When you say, I want, I long for, I seek, who's speaking exactly? It might sound strange, but it's not you who owns your desire. In truth, it's desire that owns you. It's desire that moves inside you, that guides you, pushes you, makes you get up, search, think, feel the lack, without asking your permission. You don't choose desire. You don't plan it. You don't control it. It's a force that exceeds you. And yet, it's the very thing that keeps you alive. Think about it. A life can be biologically alive and still be extinguished. You see it around you. Maybe you feel it sometimes within yourself. Bodies in motion, eyes dimming, movements losing their meaning. These are lives where desire no longer flows. Lives still standing, but without momentum. Because being biologically alive isn't enough. A life dims when it has nothing left to long for. When it feels no absence, or worse, no longer recognizes absence. When everything becomes the same, flat, automatic. And so maybe you ask, what is desire really? It's not a need. It's not a whim. It's not even an object to be reached. It's a tension, a nameless pull that draws you elsewhere, that tears open the calm, tidy structure of your identity. Here's the paradox. Desire is what makes you feel alive. But to do so, it must unsettle you. It must make you waver. It must shake your ground. It must fracture your certainties about who you are, what you want, where you're going. That's the moment when real life begins. When your I, the idea you have of yourself, starts to crack. When something knocks from within and you don't know its name, but you know you can't ignore it. Desire, in essence, is this: a pulsing absence, a call that refuses to be silenced. Have you ever tried to stop desire? Tried to reason with it, explain it, tame it? Perhaps you have, but it didn't work because desire cannot be domesticated. It's not like a thought you can focus. It's not like a will you can bend. Desire happens. It grabs you. It pulls you. It sweeps you away. You might believe you're in control, but you're not. You don't choose desire. You don't decide what to desire. And that can be terrifying. Because if you don't choose what you desire, then who are you? Deep down, you feel it. There is something inside you that moves without asking. It doesn't speak to your conscious self. It breaks through it. It's like a wave overflowing the levee, shattering every barrier. Freud said it clearly. Desire is unconscious. It doesn't originate from the I. It comes from elsewhere. And when it reaches the I, that I stumbles. You think you're deciding, that you have power. But when desire arrives, your control crumbles. You start to tremble. You're no longer steering the scene. Have you ever fallen in love all of a sudden? Felt attraction for someone or something that didn't fit your plans or your ideas? In that moment, something inside you spoke in your place, a different language, a different logic, not the logic of reason, but of urgency. Falling in love, you know, is only partly sweet. It's also loss. It's also vertigo, because it breaks the borders of yourself. It exposes you, moves you, shakes you. Every true desire is like this. It takes you elsewhere, out of yourself, beyond what you know, beyond what you can control. And so you realize desire is never comfortable. It is unease, friction, a question that keeps pulsing and that will never have a final answer. But perhaps it is right there, in that disorder, in that seeming loss, that something greater begins to open. Perhaps that's the moment you begin, truly to live. Every time you desire, you step outside yourself. Imagine this. Your sense of self is like a house, solid, familiar, orderly. Desire is a window that opens on its own, without warning. Something enters through it. Air, light, maybe darkness. You don't know. But what you do know is that you can't close it. Every authentic desire is a crossing of boundaries. It pushes you beyond the edges of who you think you are. It doesn't stay inside. It doesn't follow form. It refuses what is already known. And here is a subtle truth. but a powerful one. You don't just desire something, you desire someone else, or rather you desire for someone else to desire you. You don't simply want the object, you want to be the object of someone's desire. To desire is to want to be a lack in the other person, to want to be missed, imagined, longed for, to leave behind a soft and restless absence in their heart. When you love, you don't just want to be loved, you want to be needed. You want to know that if you're not there, the other person feels it. You want to know that your presence has become a question, that your face has become an absence waiting to be filled. And when that disappears, when the one you love no longer waits for you, the pain is deep, but it isn't only about loneliness. It's the feeling of no longer being missed, of becoming invisible, unnecessary. This is the heart of desire, not conquest, but recognition, not possession, but the sign that someone else wants you. What you seek is never just a thing. It's always a sign, a subtle, nearly invisible signal that says, I see you, I want you, I miss you. And when that sign arrives, something in you awakens. Even if you can't explain it, you know that your desire has been received. You might think your desire comes from within, that it's yours, original, spontaneous. But that's not true. Your desire is born in the other. More precisely, it is born from the desire of the other. You learn to desire by watching someone who desired you, someone who recognized you before you could even speak, someone who looked at you, and in that gaze made your absence real. Desire ignites the moment someone else makes you feel awaited. You are not born alone. You do not desire alone. Think of a child. Even if they receive care, food, attention, they can still wither slowly if something deeper is missing. The desire for them. The gaze that says, you matter. If you weren't here, I'd feel your absence. That is the true root of desire. Being desired, before you ever desired anything yourself. Feeling that your existence creates a lack in someone else, a lack full of meaning, and maybe deep down, like a buried voice, you still carry this ancient question. Can you lose me? It's a question every child carries in their heart. Can you live without me? Am I truly important enough to be missed? That's what feeds desire. Not objects, not material things, but signs, symbols, waiting. It's the quiet, where are you, from a voice that searches for you. It's the feeling of being named, sought, called. It's knowing that even in your absence, someone is still waiting. That's why desire isn't satisfied through possession. It's satisfied only when it feels desired, when it's answered in the eyes of the other, when it's recognized. Because yes, in the end, this is what you're looking for, to be recognized. Not as a thing to be consumed, but as a being who is missing, who leaves an imprint, who has a scent, an echo, a unique shape. Desire finds peace only when it feels welcome, and even the faintest sign is enough to keep it alive. You don't desire alone, and you didn't learn to desire from nothing. Desire is inherited, it's passed on. It is lit from another flame. Maybe you've never thought of it this way, but every one of your desires is born from contagion. You started desiring by watching someone who desired. You love something because someone, before you, looked at it with eyes full of fire. Desire isn't an autonomous spark. It's a flame passed from hand to hand, from parents to children, from teachers to students, from one face to another. Even those who teach, they know this well, don't just transmit knowledge. They transmit the desire for knowledge. That's what lasts. That's what ignites. Think of a teacher. The one who truly left a mark on you wasn't the one who knew the most. It was the one who wanted to know, the one who burned, the one who showed you that knowing is beautiful, necessary, alive. Desire doesn't enter by force. It seeps in. It reflects. It's absorbed. The same goes for love, for art, for every true passion. You began to desire because someone, before you, made you see it was worth it. Desire is an unwritten inheritance. It has no will, no rules. But when you receive it, you know it. You recognize it. It's like a vibration lighting up in the body. It makes you say, I want to feel what you felt. And sometimes, yes, you forget that. You convince yourself your desires are yours, that they come from your taste, your mind, your choices. But deep down, they all carry traces. Traces of others, a received imprint, a transmitted signal. Because to desire is to continue an invisible chain, a line of eyes, voices, expectations, a delicate thread linking every desiring life to another. And you in this chain are both a link and a passage. You receive, and without even realizing you pass it on. Have you ever asked yourself if what you want is really what you want? Or whether, for a long time, you've been chasing something that belongs to someone else? An idea, an expectation, a gaze, a request you've heard for so long that you mistook it for your own. Desire can become a mask. It can turn into an echo, a program response. When you spend your life longing to be recognized, you end up forgetting who you truly are. Yes, because desiring is not enough. You must recognize your own desire. Give it a name. Defend it. Protect it. Even, and especially, when it does not earn the approval of others. But it's not easy, because desire is fragile, and when it is not recognized, you try to adjust it, you modify it, resize it, hide it, sacrifice it. That's how neurosis is born. When what you desire no longer belongs to you. When you live constantly trying to meet an idea from outside yourself. When you do everything for others, but lose the way back to yourself. It's a subtle, nearly invisible form of permanent sacrifice. A voice that says, if I do this for others, I'll be loved. But beneath that, far beneath, there is exhaustion, a sense of distance, and emptiness. Because after giving everything, you may find you no longer have anything of your own, and your true desire, the one that used to belong to you, falls silent, locked in a room where no one knocks anymore. It takes courage to feel that desire again, to recognize it, to give it back its voice. It takes a new kind of selfishness, not the cold selfishness of indifference, but a radical, ethical one that says, this is my path. When you stop sacrificing yourself to the desires of others, you don't become colder. You become more real. You begin to mend something that had broken. And finally, you return to desire with your own name still on it. Not to please, but to exist. There's a side of desire that never lets you rest. A side that unsettles you, that devours. A pull that doesn't fade, even when you get what you wanted. Have you ever longed for something with all your strength, and then, once you had it, felt it wasn't enough? That's how it goes. The object you craved loses its glow the moment it's in your hands, and immediately your mind starts searching again. Another object, another goal, another mirage. Desire, if you follow it blindly, never stops. It slides from one thing to the next, as if nothing could ever truly satisfy it. It's a chase, a constant search, an illusion that renews itself endlessly. Psychoanalysis has a name for this: the metonymy of desire, an infinite shift, a hunger that moves from one object to another without ever reaching its source, without ever finding home. And in this movement, the market has built its perfect machine. Every object is offered as a solution. Every product is an answer. Every window, every ad, every shelf promises, this will make you feel whole. This will make you enough. But it's a lie, because what's sold is not made to fulfill. It's designed not to fulfill. It's the object that creates the lack. You don't desire because something is missing. You feel something missing because the object tells you, look what you don't have. And so you enter the spiral. You don't buy to own. You buy to chase something that never lets itself be caught. It's hunger feeding on itself. Desire turned into an industry. And you, once a subject, become a consumer. Unaware, tireless, always hungry. But in that endless hunger, something dies. Desire wears thin, becomes mechanical. It turns into habit, a disguised need. And life starts to empty out, because you cannot desire endlessly. without ever stopping to recognize what you already have. There's an old phrase almost whispered that says, happiness lies in desiring what you already have, not in owning everything, not in chasing what's new, but in discovering that what you already hold is still alive, still desirable, still new. In a world that pushes you to consume, to replace every object the moment it loses its shine, this idea feels revolutionary. But think, what if what you desire is already with you? What if it's right there, in front of your eyes, and you've simply forgotten how to look at it the right way? Desire doesn't need to consume in order to live. It can renew, it can return, it can stay, it can repeat without fading, like love. If it's real, love escapes the logic of substitution. You don't desire a person among many. You desire that person, unique, unrepeatable, irreplaceable. You fall in love, and then, if you're lucky, you manage to stay in love. Not because each day is different, but because each day can feel like a new first glance. Authentic love breaks the chain of replacement. It makes you say, it's still her, it's still him, and today feels like the first time. And that logic doesn't just apply to people, it can apply to an idea, a work, a calling, a choice. It can apply to your entire life. You can choose to love what you already have, not out of resignation, but out of fidelity, a creative, living, renewed fidelity. And here, desire changes its face. It's no longer hunger, no longer pursuit. It becomes law, but not a law that oppresses, an inner law, ethical, yours. To do good, Augustine once said, is not to do what's convenient. It's to do what aligns with your deepest desire, not the one that shouts, not the one that's imposed, but the quiet one, calling you from within. And so desire ceases to be whim. It becomes coherence. It becomes choice. It becomes presence. You stop chasing, you stop fleeing, and finally you begin to live your desire with clarity, with gentleness, with responsibility, with love.